Welcome. We're diving into the final chapter of one of the most famous talks ever given, the Sermon on the Mount. You could think of it as a kind of constitution, a blueprint for building a life that is truly unshakable. And it all boils down to a few key choices that really defined everything. So, what if there was a roadmap for that kind of life? A life that could stand up to any storm? Well, this chapter lays out exactly that. It's not just a list of rules, it's a series of choices. So let's jump right in and see what they are. Okay, so the very first choice that Jesus presents is all about our perspective. It's a simple question, really. Where do you point your critical eye? Outward, at other people, or inward, at yourself? He gives us this really vivid picture. He contrasts focusing on the tiny little fault in someone else's eye, he calls it a speck, with the much more important job of dealing with the giant log in our own eye. It's a powerful way of saying, hey, get your own house in order first. You know, early commentators on this took it very seriously. They said that when we judge others, we're basically trying to do God's job. But there's a more immediate problem. It actually drains the love right out of us, and, it makes us completely forget that we need mercy too. And wow, listen to how St. Augustine puts it. He just nails the danger here. He says that what starts as a small judgment, that tiny speck of annoyance, can fester and grow over time until it becomes full-blown hatred, a destructive log lodged right in our own eye. So this idea of choosing our perspective, it flows right into the next big choice. Once we decide how we're going to see the world, we then have to decide where we're going to walk. And the contrast couldn't be more clear. You've got the wide gate. It's easy, it's popular, it's the road most traveled. But its destination? Destruction. Then there's the narrow gate. It's tough. It takes real effort and intention, but it's the only path that leads to real, true life. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth am I supposed to travel a path that difficult? Well, the whole point is you're not supposed to do it on your own. There's a toolkit for the journey. You ask for strength when you're weak. You seek for direction when you're lost, and you knock, trusting that the door will actually be open for you. So what's our compass on this journey? How do we stay on track? Well, the text boils down all the law and the prophets, the whole shebang, into one simple guiding principle, the golden rule. That's it. That's what guides every single step. Okay, so we've chosen our perspective, we've chosen our path, but now a new challenge pops up. How do you know who to trust along the way? How do you tell the difference between good advice and, well, dangerous lies? The text gives this really strong warning about false prophets. People who look harmless on the outside, like sheep, but on the inside, they're dangerous wolves. So the million-dollar question is, how in the world can you spot them? The answer is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. You'll know them by their fruit. And the commentators are really clear on this. Fruit isn't about flashy miracles or amazing speeches. It's about the real, tangible results of their character. Their actions, their integrity, the kind of life they actually produce. I mean, it's common sense, right? You don't go looking for grapes on a thorn bush. But here's this really crucial and beautiful clarification that the commentators make. While it's true a corrupt tree can't produce good fruit as it is, that's not a life sentence. As you can see here, a bad tree can become a good tree. Change through repentance and transformation is always on the table. And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most powerful choice in the whole chapter. What kind of foundation are you going to build your life on? So first up, we've got the foolish builder. This is the guy who hears all this amazing stuff about judgment, about the right path, but he doesn't do any of it. He built his life on the shifting sands of just hearing without ever taking action. So what happens when the storms of life inevitably show up? And they always do, right? Trials, temptations, tragedies. His whole life, everything he's built, just collapses. A great and total crash. But then you've got the wise man. He's the complete opposite. He hears the exact same words, but he actually puts them into practice. He digs deep and lays his foundation on solid rock. And here it is. This is the ultimate reveal from the commentators, that unshakable rock, the only foundation that can withstand any storm, isn't just a list of rules or a set of ideas. As St. Augustine so powerfully said, that rock was Christ. The ultimate foundation isn't a what, it's a who. So, can you imagine being in the crowd that day? After Jesus finished saying all of this, the reaction was just electric. They knew, absolutely knew, they had just heard something totally different. They were astonished. See, they were used to their teachers just quoting other teachers, endlessly debating things. But this wasn't like that. These words carried real weight, real divine authority, the kind of power that could actually change a person's life from the inside out. And so that's where the chapter leaves us. It ends with this one final, unavoidable question. It's a question we don't just hear. It's one we have to answer with our very lives. On what foundation are you building? Is it on the shifting sand of just hearing these words, or is it on the solid rock of actually doing them?